if you had this trade line for 5 years, or you've had this trade line for 2 months. So they place that trade line, and it's all the perfect payment history on this particular trade line, because those kinds of things, those kinds of items help you with your credit score. So you got these trade lines, right? So you add them to your credit report. You think, oh, good, this sounds great. Why in the world wouldn't I do that? Well, here's the thing. Again, just like CPN, you won't learn anything, and you're doomed to repeat yourself yet again. Also, trade lines cost a lot of money. In my opinion, a lot of money. So some can be $900, some can be $1,200, some can be 15, some can be $2,200 for you to add a trade line if you find a place that will do a trade line for you. So if you do the trade line, they charge you $2,000 for you to do the trade line. The majority of people that I see that always that talk about they got too much debt and there's a lot going on. They can't afford to for credit restoration, or they can't afford to get rid of some of these collections. $2,000 for a trade line, you can use that money. You can use that $2,000 to get rid of some of your collections and your debt. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, man, $2,000. If I did have the $2,000, I can do this and maybe quote unquote fix my credit real quick. Or I can use this $2,000 and I can take forever to fix my credit, and I actually owe more than $2,000 in these collections. Well, if you do it right with your collections, you listen to the 800 Credit Score Man show, and I tell you the strategy on the when, where, and why you want to do what you want to do. That $2,000, if you've got $5,500 worth of debts that you need to clear up. If you got $5,500 worth, maybe you can get rid of it with $2,000. But you won't know unless you try, and you won't know unless you contact me and we work out a strategy for you. So email me 800@creditscoreman.com, or you can go ahead and call me too, 312-600-5855. That's 312-600-5855. So even let me tell you this, we're talking about this $2,000. I hadn't thought about putting this in the show, but back in the day when my credit was bad, I mean, if you haven't listened to all the shows, you don't know that I had a 585 at one point in time. Trying to start a business with a 585 that was dealing with real estate was very difficult. So I was able to get my credit score up by hook or crook, by trying different things and learning this entire process. But when it was at 585 and then it grew to over 800, I gathered a wealth of information. That's the kind of information I bring to you, along with research as well and trial and error on myself, and then also doing things for clients that I've learned over the years that have helped you out. So when I talk about this $2,000, you're thinking there's no way in the world I can clear my debt with $2,000. So I'm going to pay for this trade line. This trade line is going to move my credit score to where I need it to be so I can buy that house or buy that car or whatever it is. Let me tell you my story. So I had over $13,000 worth of collections. Might have even been 16. I don't remember now. It's been some time. $13,000 or $16,000 worth of collections on my credit report. And it was all kinds of stuff, just different little stuff that some didn't belong to me. Some they said belonged to me, but there was mitigating circumstances behind them. So it shouldn't have been on my credit report. So at the end of the day, with the strategies that I tell people to use, at the end of the day, of that $13,000 or $16,000 worth of debt, what I paid to get rid of those things and to get them all wiped off of my credit report, not like, yep, he paid, settled, or anything of that nature on my credit report, totally off of my credit report, that $13,000 or $16,000, I paid like $3,800. So, yep, I absolutely owed some of this 16, 13,000, whatever it was. I owed some of it. I absolutely did. Some of it I did not owe. But at the end of the day, with those 4 or 5 accounts that was dragging down my credit report, I paid $3,800. $3,800. So when I was looking at my situation, I got $13,000 or $16,000 worth of collections and whatnot. There's no way in the world I'm going to be able to come up with this money to get rid of all these collections. And then I was able to go in and negotiate and get some things disputed and knocked off my credit report. Then at the end of the day, if I went from $13,000 down to less than $4,000, if you've got $5,000 worth of collections, you might be able to get them bad boys knocked down to like $2,000. So if you got $2,000 for a trade line, you might be able to use that $2,000 to do your credit the correct way, in my opinion, the correct way. So I'm going to get off that soapbox over there. So trade lines is not the most effective way. Trade lines also don't stay on your credit report forever. So your trade line will be on your credit report for 6 months, 9 months, maybe a year. It'll stay on your credit report and then it'll disappear. So you artificially get the bump of the credit score, right? You artificially get that bump. It's going to go up when you add your trade line. And then when it comes off, what's going to happen? Your score is going to go back down again. So the only time, if you're ever going to do a trade line at all, and I hesitate to put this out there, is when you're going to actually do something significant, something that's going to cost you a whole bunch of money. You're going to buy a house, you're going to buy you're about to buy an RV, or you're going to buy something, you're getting a truck, because you're going to be an over-the-haul trucker, and it's a significant amount of money, and you need to get your credit score up. Maybe you add a trade line in. You're going to do whatever business you need to do in the 6 months, in the 9 months. You add that trade line, credit score goes up, and then boom, you go ahead and get what you need to get. But other than that, there's no reason to get a trade line because it's going to go away soon. So you get this artificial bump in your credit report for what reason if you're not going to use it? It's like borrowing money. If I told you I'd give you $25,000 right now, but you have no plan for it, what's the purpose? What's the purpose and point? Of course, you can find somewhere to spend it. But like I said, you're borrowing it, so you got to give it back. So you should have a plan and a purpose for it when you get that money, right? Same thing with the trade line. If you're going to get a trade line, you should have a plan and a purpose for the trade line before you go ahead and get it. But in my opinion, you could probably do something a little bit better with that $2,000 or how much ever it would cost you. Don't have to use it on collections. That's just one example. Maybe you use it on your credit utilization like we're talking about today. You use it on that to get your credit score to go up a little bit. All right. So there we go. I'm gonna get off that soapbox. All right. Let me throw out a couple more shout outs and then I got to do this question of the day so we can get out of here. Man, I've been running my mouth. All right. So, couple more. So Nicole Hoffman, she celebrated her birthday earlier this week. So happy birthday to you. Cynthia Dyson, who is a house music head. Cynthia Dyson celebrated her birthday. Happy birthday to you, Cynthia. Anthony Jett, yes, my man Anthony Jett celebrated her birthday. Happy birthday. Marsha Stone, happy birthday to you, Marsha. My frat brother Marvin Bardo celebrated his birthday yesterday on Friday, and I kicked it with him. So happy birthday to you, Marvin. Tim Burleson celebrated their birthday as well. Jerry Smith Sr. celebrated their birthday. Lee Gates Jr. celebrated their birthday. So happy birthday to all of you guys. May you have many, many more. All right, so I talked about the wrong stuff that you do. And I'm going to talk about the right stuff as well. Here's a question that I got, and this person has a unique name, and it actually came up a couple times, so I'm not going to use their name. But the person was from Indiana, and the question came up, does a voluntary or a involuntary repossession hurt your credit the same way, or do they impact your credit the same way? And so, yes, the answer is yes. So, unfortunately, whether it's voluntary or involuntarily, it'll say it on your credit report. So it's noted, yeah, this person gave it back voluntarily, which, in our heads, that makes it better than having them come and repossess it from you involuntarily, which, of course, it is better that way. But as far as the system is concerned, the way it looks on your credit report, it doesn't matter. Voluntary or involuntary, it's going to impact your credit and your credit score the same way, unfortunately. So that was the question of the day. So you guys, if you got a question, you need to email them to me, 800@creditscoreman.com. Email me there, or hit me on any of those social media sites. Like I said, Twitter, @creditscore_man. If you follow me there, I definitely follow you back. So let's talk about some of the right ways for you to improve your credit score the right way. Before I do right way, let me throw out these last shout outs as well. So Curtis Bethel Jr., Alpha Chapter brother of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, celebrated birthday. So happy birthday, or it's coming up. So happy birthday to you, Curtis. John Thomas as well celebrated birthday. Happy birthday, John Thomas. And I think I got everybody in. No, Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor, big boy, he celebrates a birthday. So happy birthday to you, Brian, as well. All right. So the right way. Let me run through these for you guys. Right way. You got to pay on time. That's what you need to do. Start, dedicate yourself to say, I'm going to pay on time. Every last one of these bills that shows up on my credit report, I'm going to pay them on time. Two, you need to address any negative items on your credit report. I don't care if it's a late payment or if it's a collection. You need to address it somehow. Number three, handle your collections strategically. Strategically. So, like I said, I had $13,000 or $16,000 worth of collections, and I only paid $3,800 to get them all off my credit report. That's what you need to do. You need to do it strategically. I didn't willy nilly start sending letters out and hoping somebody gave me some good graces. Strategically, contact me if you want the strategy to get that done. Authorized users. You guys know that's one of my favorite things to use to help you with your credit and to repair it the correct way. Authorized users. Cosigners. If you can get a cosigner, I hate cosigners, but if you can get a cosigner, somebody would cosign for you, like I would cosign for my son, but I probably won't cosign for half the people that I give shout outs for every week, but I would cosign for my son. So if you can get a cosigner, that's a right way to help you with your credit. Watch your credit utilization. So, at the end of the day, with all the stuff we've been talking about, you need to watch your credit utilization so you can control this category. And that's why it's so important. Why do I bring it up all the time? Why do I do basically 2 shows about it? Because you can control this category, and it's so very important. So when I look at credit restoration, I don't know about other places, but well, I do know about other places. But when I look at credit restoration, I don't only look at the negative items that I can get removed. Of course, we're going to deal with those, but we're also going to deal with some positive things that you can do, and I'll help you. Not pay these bills for you, but I help you with a strategy that if you stick to it, if you stick to this particular strategy, then it'll help you maybe lower some of your debt that you have and this credit utilization portion of it. So it's one of the most important things that you can do, that you can manipulate, and most people can do something about it. So if you got no money necessarily, everything is maxed out. All your credit cards are maxed out or close to it. You've been robbing Peter to pay Paul. And you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to work on my credit utilization. Well, before your credit starts to fall or anything of that nature, what you could do is contact your credit card companies. You contact your credit card company and say, I'd like an increase. Even if they do an actual hard inquiry on you and they give you an increase, if you've got 4 cards and then each one of those cards give you an additional $1,000, that you're not going to use. You're not going to use this additional $1,000, but if they give you an additional $1,000, and so now you have $4,000 more dollars that you have as your limits. Doing that reduces your credit utilization. You haven't paid one dime. You didn't pay anybody down, any of your credit cards down at all. You didn't pay any more than you normally pay if you're just paying the minimums or you throwing them a couple extra bucks every month. And your credit utilization went down because your limits went up. So you can do that. Then, of course, you can make a plan to pay down some of your debts as well. So whether you do the snowball or the avalanche, if you don't know what those are, I did a show on those too. Go back and look through it. I don't care what system you use, whether you go to Podbean or Castbox or iTunes or iHeartRadio or Spotify, you can catch the show I did on Snowball versus Avalanche. So you can do that, help pay down your debt as well. So not only can you raise your limits, if you can get your limits raised, then you can also pay down the debt. That's going to help you with your credit utilization. When the credit card companies offer you additional limits without you calling them, take them. Take them, especially if you are disciplined enough not to use them. Take them. Also, something you shouldn't do when it comes to your credit utilization is close credit cards. So I know you only went to the mattress store the one time, and you bought your $2,200 mattress, and they gave you credit for it, and you got 6 months same as cash. You paid off in 6 months, and so now you want to close it because you have no intentions on buying another mattress, right? You're not going to buy another mattress for 8 to 10 years or whatever it is, right? You want to close that card. Don't close that card. I don't care if you just got to go put it in a safe somewhere or whatever. Cut it up, if you will. Don't close the card because the limit that they gave you it's working for you. And it'll always work for you because you'll always have a zero